The radiator in my studio apartment clanks and hisses, but no heat comes. It's been broken for 3 days, and my landlord still hasn't returned my calls. I pull my grandmother's old quilt tighter around my shoulders as I sit cross-legged on my bed, laptop balanced on my knees, responding to yet another rejection email. Thank you for your interest, but we've decided to move forward with other candidates. I close my eyes, fighting back the familiar sting of tears. That's the 4th music therapy position this month. 4 years of graduate school, $30,000 in student loans, and I'm piecing together a living from 3 part-time jobs that barely cover rent in this shoebox in Queens. My phone buzzes. A text from the children's hospital where I work Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. Maeve, can you cover an extra shift tomorrow? Jenny called in sick. I should say no. I'm already working at the music school Wednesday mornings, the nursing home Wednesday evenings, and I promised myself I'd spend tomorrow updating my portfolio, applying to more positions, trying to build something resembling a career. But extra shifts mean extra money. And extra money means I might actually be able to afford both groceries and my student loan payment this month. I'll be there, I type back. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. My stomach growls, reminding me I skipped lunch to save money. I pad across the cold floor to my kitchenette, a generous word for the hot plate, mini fridge, and 3 feet of counter space that constitute my cooking area. Inside the fridge, half a carton of eggs, some wilted spinach, and a container of yogurt that expired yesterday. Dinner sorted, then. As I crack eggs into a chipped bowl, my mind drifts to my grandmother, to her tiny cottage in County Cork where I spent summers as a child. She'd cook massive breakfasts, eggs, sausages, brown bread thick with butter, and sing while she worked. Old songs in Gaelic that her mother had taught her, that her mother's mother had taught her, going back generations. Ta mo croyastai ianat, she'd sing, stirring porridge, her voice clear and strong despite her 78 years. My heart is within you. She's been gone 2 years now, and I miss her with an ache that never quite fades. She's the reason I became a music therapist. She showed me how music could heal, could reach people when words failed, could soothe pain that medicine couldn't touch. If only music therapy paid enough to actually live on. I eat my scrambled eggs standing at the counter, too tired to even sit down properly. Tomorrow's schedule runs through my mind, hospital shift 7 to 3, then I need to prep lesson plans for Friday's music school classes, then maybe, if I have any energy left, I can work on that grant application for the community music program I want to start. My phone buzzes again. This time, it's an unknown number. Is this Maeve Sullivan? I got your number from the St. Michael's job board. I need a nanny. Emergency situation. Tonight. Good pay. I stare at the message, exhaustion and desperation warring within me. I'm not a nanny. I have a master's degree in music therapy, specialized training in child development, certifications in therapeutic interventions. I didn't spend 6 years in school to babysit. But good pay. Those 2 words glow on the screen like a beacon. I type back, what are the details? The response comes immediately, 5-year-old girl. Severe nightmares. Previous nannies couldn't handle it. 1 night, possibly more if it works out. $500 for tonight. $1,000 if you stay the week. My hands tremble. $500. That's more than I make in a week combining all 3 jobs. What happened to the previous nannies? I ask, some self-preservation instinct kicking in despite my desperation. They quit. The situation is complicated. But I promise you'll be safe. The child is safe. She just needs someone patient. Someone who understands trauma. Trauma. The word catches my attention. This is actually in my wheelhouse. Children with trauma, with nightmares, with anxiety. I've worked with dozens of them at the hospital. What's the address? I type before I can second-guess myself. The address that comes through makes me blink. Upper East Side. The kind of neighborhood where apartments have doormen and start at $5 million. Can you be here by 8 p.m.? Formal interview first, but if it goes well, you start tonight. I check the time. It's 6:30. I'd need to shower, change into something presentable, take the subway across the city. I'll be there, I respond. Only after I've sent the message do I realize I have no idea who I'm meeting, who this child is, or why someone living on the Upper East Side found my name on a church job board meant for low-income families looking for affordable childcare. But $500. For that, I'll figure it out. The building isn't just nice. It's the kind of nice that makes me feel like I shouldn't be breathing its air. A doorman in an actual uniform, not a windbreaker, but a tailored suit with brass buttons, opens the door as I approach. He looks at me with the polite skepticism reserved for people who clearly don't belong in buildings like this. I'm here to see. I realize I don't have a name. I pull out my phone, checking the text thread. Apartment 24B. The doorman's expression shifts subtly. Not quite fear, but definitely wariness. Miss Sullivan. Yes. He nods, stepping aside. Mr. Moretti is expecting you. 24th floor. The lobby is all marble and gold fixtures, with a chandelier that probably costs more than I'll earn in my entire lifetime. My sneakers squeak on the polished floor as I cross to the elevator, and I'm acutely aware of how out of place I look in my thrift store pea coat and jeans. The elevator is mirrored, and I catch sight of myself as it rises. My red hair, inherited from my grandmother, is pulled into a messy bun. My face is pale, dark circles under my green eyes from too many late nights and not enough food. I look exactly like what I am, exhausted, struggling, barely holding it together. Not exactly the image of a professional nanny. The elevator dings on the 24th floor, opening directly into a private foyer. Not a hallway with multiple apartments, a private foyer for one apartment. Of course. Before I can knock, the door opens. The woman standing there is in her 60s, gray hair and a neat bun, wearing what looks like a uniform. A housekeeper, I realize. This family has staff. Miss Sullivan. Her accent is Italian, her eyes kind but assessing. Come in. Mr. Moretti will see you shortly. I step inside, and my breath catches. The apartment is enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook Central Park, the city lights twinkling like earthbound stars. The furniture is expensive but comfortable-looking, modern but warm. Toys are scattered near a sectional sofa, blocks, dolls, picture books, the only evidence that a child lives here. Please, sit, the housekeeper says, gesturing to the sofa. Would you like water? Coffee? Water would be lovely, thank you. She disappears, and I perch on the edge of the sofa, trying not to touch anything. My mind races. Who is Mr. Moretti? And why does a man wealthy enough to live here need to find a nanny through a church job board? A sound makes me turn my head. A small voice, frightened and plaintive, coming from somewhere deeper in the apartment. No, no, please no. A child. Having a nightmare, even though it can't be later than 8:30. The housekeeper returns with my water, her expression troubled. Mr. Moretti apologizes for the delay. Emma, the little one, she's having another episode. The nightmares? I ask. She nods, relief flickering across her face at my understanding. Every night, sometimes multiple times. She falls asleep, then wakes screaming. Nothing helps. We've tried everything, night lights, music, staying with her, letting her sleep in her father's room. Nothing works. How long has this been going on? 6 months. Since. She stops herself, clearly unsure how much to share. Since her mother passed. My heart clenches. A 5-year-old who lost her mother. No wonder she has nightmares. Miss Sullivan. A deep voice makes me jump. I turn to find a man standing in the archway leading to the rest of the apartment. My breath catches for the second time in as many minutes, but for an entirely different reason. He's tall, probably 6'2", with dark hair that's slightly disheveled as if he's been running his hands through it. His white dress shirt is rolled up to his forearms, the top 2 buttons undone, his tie discarded somewhere. But it's his eyes that hold me frozen, dark, intense, and filled with an exhaustion that mirrors my own. This is not what I expected. I don't know what I expected, but not this. Not him. Mr. Moretti. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. He nods, moving into the room with a predatory grace that sets something primitive in my hindbrain on alert. This is a dangerous man. I don't know how I know it, but I know it with the same certainty I know my own name. Thank you for coming on such short notice. His voice is controlled, but I hear the strain beneath it. I apologize for the chaos. My daughter is having a difficult night. As if to emphasize his point, another cry echoes through the apartment. Daddy. Daddy, please. Every instinct I have as a child development specialist kicks in. May I ask, already standing. He blinks, surprise flickering across his features. You want to meet her now? Before we've even discussed terms. She's terrified, I say simply. The interview can wait. For a long moment, he just stares at me. Then something in his expression shifts, softens almost imperceptibly. This way. I follow him down a hallway lined with photographs. I catch glimpses of a beautiful dark-haired woman holding a baby, the same woman laughing with Mr. Moretti, the woman who is now gone. Emma's mother. Emma's room is princess-themed but tasteful, soft pinks and whites, a canopy bed, shelves filled with books and stuffed animals. And in that bed, a small figure thrashes against blankets, whimpering. Mr. Moretti moves to her side immediately, his large hands gentle as he tries to soothe her. Emma, baby, wake up. It's just a dream. Daddy's here. But she doesn't wake. She's caught in the nightmare, trapped in whatever horror her 5-year-old mind has constructed. I approach slowly, keeping my voice soft. Mr. Moretti, may I try something? He looks up at me, and I see it clearly now, not just exhaustion, but desperation. This powerful man is powerless against his daughter's pain, and it's destroying him. Please, he says, and that single word holds a wealth of emotion. I sit on the edge of the bed, opposite him. Emma's face is flushed, tears streaming down her cheeks, her small hands clenched into fists. And I do the only thing I know how to do. I sing. Doing du shol, a run mo croy, the words flow out in Gaelic, soft and melodic. Close your eyes, treasure of my heart. The effect is immediate. Emma's thrashing slows, her breathing shifts. Taumais ansio, na biod iglo ort. I'm here, don't be afraid. My grandmother's voice echoes in my memory, singing this same song to me when I was small and frightened by thunderstorms. The melody is ancient, passed down through generations of Irish mothers soothing their children. Codlad Sam, Aline Bemo Gra. Sleep peacefully, child of my love. Emma's eyes flutter open. For a moment, she stares at me in confusion, this stranger in her room. Then her gaze finds her father, and she reaches for him with a sob. Daddy. He gathers her into his arms, holding her against his chest. I'm here, Angel. Daddy's here. But Emma's eyes returned to me, wide and curious. The lady sang, she whispers. Like Mommy used to sing. The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. I glance at Mr. Moretti and find him staring at me with an expression I can't quite read. Shock, maybe. Or recognition. Your mama sang to you? I ask gently. Emma nods against her father's shirt. In the language I don't know. Before she went to heaven. My heart breaks for this little girl. That was Gaelic, I tell her. It's a very old language from Ireland. My grandmother taught me those songs when I was your age. Can you sing more? Emma asks, her voice small and hopeful. I look to Mr. Moretti for permission. He nods once, his jaw tight with emotion. So I sing another verse, this one slower, more of a lullaby. Emma's eyes grow heavy, her body relaxing in her father's arms. By the time I finish, she's asleep, truly asleep, not the fitful, nightmare-plagued sleep she'd been trapped in before. Mr. Moretti carefully lays her back in bed, tucking the blankets around her with a tenderness that contrasts sharply with the danger I sense in him. He's gentle with her, reverent even, as if she's made of spun glass. We slip out of the room, leaving the door cracked. In the hallway, Mr. Moretti leans against the wall, running both hands through his hair. When he looks at me, his eyes are wet. She hasn't slept through the night in 6 months, he says, his voice rough. 6 months of screaming, crying, waking up terrified. We've tried everything, doctors, therapists, medication. Nothing worked. Trauma manifests differently in children, I say softly. Sometimes they need something that connects them to what they've lost. The Gaelic must have reminded her of her mother. Her mother was Italian, he says. She never sang in Gaelic. I frown, confused. But Emma said. I know what she said. He pushes off the wall, moving closer to me. You need to understand something, Miss Sullivan. My wife never sang in Gaelic. She sang in Italian, sometimes in English. Never Gaelic. Then why would Emma think? Because what you just did, what you just gave my daughter, was the first piece she's had since her mother died. His eyes hold mine, intense and unwavering. And she's 5 years old. She connected your singing to the only singing that ever made her feel safe. Her mother's. The weight of what he's saying settles over me. I didn't remind Emma of her mother. I gave her something new that felt like home. The job is yours, Mr. Moretti says abruptly. If you want it. Name your price. I should ask about schedules, about specific responsibilities, about normal nanny things. Instead, I hear myself say, who are you? Mr. Moretti's expression shifts, becomes guarded. What do you mean? You live in a penthouse on the Upper East Side. You have a housekeeper, probably other staff. You clearly have money. I gesture around us. So why find a nanny through a church job board in Queens? Why not use an agency? Why not hire someone with references, someone vetted? For a long moment, he doesn't answer. Then he says, carefully, because agencies ask questions. They do background checks, not on the nanny, Miss Sullivan. On the employer. The implication hangs between us, heavy and ominous. And you can't afford those questions, I say slowly. No. He holds my gaze. I can't. I should run. Every self-preservation instinct I have is screaming at me to thank him politely and get the hell out of this apartment, away from this man who admits he needs to hide from background checks. But I think of Emma's tear-stained face. I think of how she responded to the song. I think of $500 that would mean I could eat more than scrambled eggs for dinner. I'm a music therapist, I hear myself say. Not a nanny. I have a master's degree in child development, specialized training in trauma work with children. If you want me to help Emma, I'll help her. But I'm not here to just babysit. Something that might be respect flickers in his eyes. What would you need? Creative control over her therapy. No interference unless I ask for it. And honesty, if I'm going to work with a traumatized child, I need to know what I'm dealing with. I can give you the first two, he says. The third, that's more complicated. Why? He studies me for a long moment, and I have the distinct impression he's making some kind of calculation, weighing risks I can't begin to understand. My name is Luca Moretti, he says finally. And if that means nothing to you, then you're either remarkably sheltered or remarkably naive. I shake my head. Should it mean something? His laugh is bitter. In certain circles, yes. My family has business interests in New York. Interests that not everyone approves of. The careful phrasing tells me everything he's not saying. Business interests. Certain circles. The way the doorman looked when I mentioned his apartment number. The need to avoid background checks. You're connected, I say, using the only term I know from movies and television. To organized crime. That's an oversimplification, but yes. His voice is steady, unapologetic. Does that change your answer? It should. It absolutely should. But I think of Emma's small voice. The lady sang, like Mama used to sing. I think of how peaceful she looked when she finally fell asleep. I think of Luca Moretti's desperate eyes when he begged me to help. And I think of my bank account, my overdue bills, my struggling existence in a city that's slowly crushing me. How dangerous is this? I ask. For me, I mean. If I work here. You'll be as safe as I can make you, he says, and something in his tone makes me believe him. My world is complicated, Miss Sullivan. There are people who would use anything they could against me, including my daughter. But in this apartment, you're protected. I can promise you that. Protected from what? From people who would harm you to get to me. His jaw tightens. From people who see Emma as leverage, as a weapon to use against her father. Horror washes through me. Someone's threatened her. Not yet. But they will. The certainty in his voice is chilling. It's only a matter of time. My wife's death wasn't natural. And Emma is my weakness now. Everyone in my world knows it. I should run. I should absolutely run. 3,000 a week, I hear myself say instead. Plus my own room here, because if I'm doing overnight care, I'm not commuting back to Queens. And I want you to pay off my student loans. His eyebrows rise. All of them. $30,000. Consider it a signing bonus. I cross my arms, trying to look more confident than I feel. You said name my price. That's my price. For a moment, I think he'll refuse. It's an outrageous demand, audacious from someone with no leverage. Then he smiles, and it transforms his face. He's handsome when he broods, but when he smiles, he's devastating. Done, he says. I'll have my lawyer draw up the paperwork tomorrow. In the meantime. He pulls out his phone, types rapidly, then shows me the screen. It's a bank transfer confirmation. $500, sent to my account. For tonight, he explains. Consider it in advance. I stare at the confirmation, my mind reeling. In less than an hour, I've somehow negotiated my way into a job that pays more than I've ever earned, with a man who just admitted he's involved in organized crime, to help a traumatized 5-year-old whose mother was murdered. What the hell am I doing? Miss Sullivan. Luca's voice pulls me from my spiraling thoughts. Are you having second thoughts? I look up at him, this dangerous, desperate man who loves his daughter enough to hire a complete stranger because she sang in a language his child had never heard before. Maeve, I say. If I'm living here, you should call me Maeve. The smile returns, softer this time. Maeve. Irish. My grandmother was from County Cork. She raised me after my parents died when I was 8. Something flickers in his expression. Understanding, maybe. Or kinship. Then we both know what it is to lose people too soon. Yes, I say softly. We do. From Emma's room, a small sound reaches us. Not a cry or a scream, just a sleepy murmur. Luca tenses immediately, but the sound doesn't repeat. She's still sleeping. I should show you to your room, Luca says. Maria, the housekeeper you met, will help you get settled. Tomorrow we can discuss schedules, Emma's routine, what you'll need. Wait, I say as he starts to move. You said your wife's death wasn't natural. I need to know, is Emma in danger? Real, immediate danger. His face hardens, becoming that dangerous mask again. Not while I'm breathing. That's not what I asked. It's the only answer I can give you. He meets my eyes, and I see the truth in them. I will protect my daughter with everything I have, Maeve. Everything I am. You're part of that protection now, whether you fully understand it or not. Because I sang to her in Gaelic. Because you sang to her in Gaelic, he agrees. Because you walked into a stranger's home and went straight to a screaming child without hesitation. Because you're exactly what Emma needs. He pauses. And because something tells me you're stronger than you look. I want to laugh at that. Strong. I'm barely surviving. I'm one missed paycheck from eviction, one emergency from complete financial ruin. I eat scrambled eggs for dinner because I can't afford anything else. But I managed to soothe his daughter when no one else could. I negotiated a salary that will change my life. I looked him in the eye when he told me he was dangerous and didn't flinch. Maybe I am stronger than I look. Okay, I say. Show me to my room. Tomorrow we start helping Emma heal. As I follow Luca through the penthouse, I catch my reflection in a hallway mirror. Same red hair, same exhausted face, same thrift store peacoat. But something in my eyes is different. I don't know what I've just agreed to. I don't know what kind of danger I'm walking into. I don't know if I'll regret this decision tomorrow or next week or next year. But for the first time in 2 years, since my grandmother died, since I graduated with debt and no job prospects, since I started barely surviving in this city, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Even if where I'm supposed to be is in the home of a mobster, caring for his traumatized daughter, stepping into a world I don't understand. My grandmother used to say that fate had a way of finding you, even when you weren't looking for it. Standing in this hallway, watching Luca Moretti's broad shoulders as he leads me deeper into his home, I finally understand what she meant. The room Maria shows me to is larger than my entire queen's apartment. A queen-sized bed with a cream duvet, a sitting area with a window overlooking the park, an ensuite bathroom with both a shower and a soaking tub. Fresh flowers on the dresser. Toiletries already stocked. Mr. Moretti had the room prepared when he decided to hire someone, Maria explains, setting fresh towels on the bathroom counter. We hoped someone would work out. You're the 7th nanny this month. The 7th? I turned to her, surprised. What happened to the others? Maria's expression grows troubled. They couldn't handle Emma's nightmares. Or... She hesitates, they couldn't handle Mr. Moretti. Meaning? He's protective of Emma. Very protective. The last nanny tried to let her cry it out, said she needed to learn to self-soothe. Maria shakes her head. Mr. Moretti fired her on the spot. Told her to leave and never come back. I processed this information, understanding dawning. Luca Moretti might be dangerous in his business dealings, but with his daughter, he's simply a terrified father watching his child suffer. Emma's mother, I ask carefully. What happened to her? Maria's face closes off immediately. That's not my story to tell, Miss Sullivan. If Mr. Moretti wants you to know, he'll tell you himself. She moves toward the door, then pauses. But I will say this, she was a good woman. Kind. She didn't deserve what happened. After Maria leaves, I sit on the edge of the bed, my phone in my hands. I should call someone, tell them where I am. But who? I have no family left except distant cousins in Ireland I haven't spoken to in years. My few friends from graduate school have scattered across the country, pursuing their own careers that I'm alone in this city. Alone in this world, really, maybe that's why I said yes. Because being alone in Luca Moretti's dangerous world seems less terrifying than being alone in my own. That I unpack my small overnight bag, a change of clothes, toiletries, my grandmother's rosary that I haven't prayed with in years but can't bring myself to leave behind. Everything I own fits in this one bag. Everything that matters, anyway. Sleep doesn't come easily. Every sound in the unfamiliar apartment makes me tense. The hum of the heating system, the distant sound of traffic, footsteps in the hallway that could be Maria or Luca or someone else entirely. Around 3 in the morning, I hear it. A whimper from Emma's room that I'm out of bed before I'm fully conscious of the decision, my bare feet silent on the hallway carpet. Emma's door is still cracked open, and I slip inside. That she's tossing in her bed, not fully in the nightmare yet but heading there. I move to her side, keeping my voice soft. Doing du shoal, a run mo croy, I sing, the melody low and soothing. Emma's movement slow. Her eyes flutter but don't open. I continue singing, one hand gently stroking her hair, until her breathing evens out again. You have a gift. I nearly jump out of my skin. Lucas stands in the doorway, wearing pajama pants and nothing else. His chest is bare, and I can see the evidence of his dangerous life in the scars that cross his torso, a long one along his ribs, a circular one on his shoulder that could only be a bullet wound. I didn't mean to startle you, he says, moving into the room. His voice is pitched low, careful not to wake Emma. I heard her start to stir. I was coming to check on her. How did you hear her from your room? I asked. That he holds up a baby monitor, the kind with a screen showing Emma sleeping peacefully now. I haven't slept without this since Gabriella died. Gabriella. His wife's name. The woman Emma lost. Does Emma wake often? I ask. 3, sometimes 4 times a night. He runs a hand through his disheveled hair, exhaustion evident in the gesture. I come every time. Sometimes she lets me hold her. Sometimes she just screams until she exhausts herself. She didn't scream tonight. No, he agrees, his eyes finding mine in the dim light from Emma's nightlight. She didn't. We stand there for a moment, on opposite sides of his daughter's bed, connected by this small miracle. Emma is sleeping peacefully for the first time in 6 months. You should get some rest, I say finally. I'll stay with her for a while, make sure she settles. You don't have to, I know, I interrupt gently. But I want to. This is what I do, Luca. This is what I'm trained for. He nods, but he doesn't leave. Instead, he sinks into the rocking chair in the corner of Emma's room, the monitor still in his hand. Then I'll stay too. I could argue, but something in his expression stops me. This is his vigil, his penance for not being able to protect his daughter from her nightmares. Who am I to take that from him? So I settle into the armchair on the opposite side of the room, and we keep watch together. 2 guards protecting a sleeping child from invisible demons. The next morning arrives too soon. Sunlight streams through Emma's curtains, and I wake with a start, disoriented. I'm still in the armchair, my neck stiff from the awkward angle. Across the room, Luca is gone, the rocking chair empty, but Emma is awake, sitting up in bed, watching me with curious dark eyes. "Good morning," I say, my voice rough with sleep. "You stayed," Emma says, wonder in her voice. "All night?" "Most of it, yes. The other nannies didn't stay." She picks at her blanket, not meeting my eyes. "They said my nightmares were too scary." My heart breaks for this little girl who thinks her trauma is too much, too frightening for anyone to bear witness to. "I'm not scared of nightmares," I tell her, moving to sit on the edge of her bed. "Do you know what I do for my job? My real job, before I came here?" She shakes her head. "I'm a music therapist. That means I help people, especially kids, who are sad or scared or hurt. And do you know how I help them? With songs." Emma guesses. "With songs," I confirm. "Music is magic, Emma. It can reach places inside us that words can't touch. It can soothe pain and calm fears and help us remember we're not alone. Like when you sang last night." Her voice is small. "It sounded like Mama." I choose my words carefully. "Your mama sang to you?" "In Italian. Before bed, every night." Tears well in Emma's eyes. "But then she got sick and went to the hospital and she didn't come home and Daddy said she went to heaven, but I don't understand why she didn't say goodbye." The dam breaks, and Emma is crying, great hiccuping sobs that shake her small frame. I gather her into my arms, holding her as she weeps. "It's okay to be sad," I murmur. "It's okay to miss her. It's okay to be angry that she left." "I'm not supposed to be angry," Emma chokes out. "Daddy says Mama loved me very much and she didn't want to leave." "You can love someone and still be angry they left you," I tell her. "Both things can be true at once." We sit like that for a long time, Emma crying against my shoulder while I hold her and rock her gently. Eventually, her sobs quiet to sniffles. "Can you teach me the song?" she asks, her voice muffled against my shirt. "The one in the language I don't know." "Gaelic," I say. "And yes, I can teach you. Would you like to learn today?" She nods, pulling back to look at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Will you stay? Really stay? Not just for one night?" "I'm going to stay for as long as you need me, I promise." What I don't say is that I'm not sure how long that will be. I don't say that I have no idea what I've gotten myself into. I don't say that her father is a dangerous man, and I'm in a world I don't understand, that I just hold her and make a promise I hope I can keep. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. Breakfast is an education in how the other half lives. Maria prepares fresh pastries, fruit, yogurt, eggs cooked to order. Emma sits at the enormous kitchen island, swinging her legs and chattering about her stuffed animals while I try not to stare at the spread of food that could feed me for a week. Maeve doesn't have any food at her apartment, Emma announces suddenly, with the brutal honesty only a 5-year-old can manage. I nearly choke on my coffee. "Emma, she told me last night," Emma continues, oblivious to my mortification. "When I asked if she was hungry, she said she only had eggs and they weren't very good eggs." Luca, who's been absorbed in his phone at the other end of the island, looks up sharply. His eyes find mine, and I see the calculation happening behind them. I start, but I'm not sure how to finish. "I didn't mean to tell your daughter I'm poor. I didn't mean to reveal how desperate I am." "Maria," Luca says, his eyes still on me. "Please make sure Maeve's apartment is stocked with groceries. Everything she might need." "That's not necessary," I say quickly. "I can, it's done." His tone brooks no argument. "You're living here now, but you should have supplies at your place when you need them." Emma beams at me. "See? Daddy fixes things. If only it were that simple. If only all problems could be solved with money and decisive action. But I know better. Some problems run deeper than empty refrigerators and overdue bills. After breakfast, Luca asks to speak with me privately in his study. The room is masculine and intimidating. Dark wood, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a massive desk that looks like it was carved from a single tree. The only soft touch is a silver-framed photograph of Gabriella holding baby Emma, both of them laughing. I need to explain some things, Luca begins, gesturing for me to sit in the leather chair across from his desk. About security, about what to expect living here. Okay, I say, trying to ignore how out of place I feel in this room that screams power and wealth. There are cameras throughout the building and the apartment, common areas only, not bedrooms or bathrooms. The doormen are actually security personnel. They're armed, and they report directly to me. He pulls out a phone, not the one I've seen him using, but a different one. This is for you. It's secure. Encrypted. It has 3 numbers programmed in, mine, Maria's, and Marco's. Marco. My head of security. If something happens, if you feel unsafe, if someone approaches you that you don't recognize, you call one of those numbers immediately. Fear prickles along my spine. You think someone will approach me? I think you need to be prepared for any possibility. His expression is grim. My enemies know I have a daughter. They know she's my weakness. Now they'll know I have someone else living here, someone caring for her. So I'm a target. So you're protected, he corrects. But yes, potentially a target. Which is why you don't leave this building without Marco or one of his team. You don't answer the door unless you know who it is. You don't give anyone information about Emma or about me. The reality of what I've agreed to settles over me like a heavy blanket. This isn't just a nanny job. This is signing up to live in a fortress, to be guarded, to exist in constant awareness of potential danger. Luca, I say carefully, I need you to be honest with me. Is Emma in immediate danger? Has someone threatened her specifically? He's silent for a long moment, his jaw working. Finally, he says, 3 weeks ago, a man approached Emma's previous nanny in the park. Claimed he was a friend of mine, said he had a gift for Emma. The nanny knew better than to accept it. She brought Emma straight home and quit the next day. My blood runs cold. What was the gift? We never found out. Marco confiscated it and had it screened. Nothing dangerous, just a stuffed animal. But the message was clear. They can get to her. They can reach my daughter. Who are they? Luca's expression hardens. A rival family. They want my territory, my businesses. They think if they take Emma, they can force me to give them what they want. Would you? The question is out before I can stop it. If they took her, would you give them everything? His eyes meet mine, dark and fierce. I would burn this city to the ground to get my daughter back. I would give them everything I have and then I would destroy them for daring to touch her. The intensity of his words, the absolute certainty in his voice, sends a shiver through me. This is not a man who makes idle threats. This is a man who means every word. The nightmares, I say, understanding dawning. They started after Gabriella died. After Emma saw what happened to her mother. Emma didn't see. He stops himself, closes his eyes. She was in the car. In the back seat. Gabriella was driving them home from Emma's dance class. The accident was violent. Emma was physically unharmed, but she saw enough. It wasn't an accident. No. His voice is flat. It wasn't. I sit back in my chair, trying to process this. Emma's mother was murdered, possibly in front of her. Emma is now a target herself. And I've just agreed to put myself between this traumatized child and whatever monsters are circling her father's world. I can't do this, I hear myself say. I'm a music therapist, not a bodyguard. I'm not equipped for, you're exactly what Emma needs, Luca interrupts, leaning forward. Last night was the first time in 6 months she slept without screaming herself awake. This morning was the first time she cried about her mother instead of holding it inside. You did that, Maeve. In one night, you gave my daughter something no therapist, no doctor, no medication could give her. You gave her peace. For one night, I protest weakly. Then give her another night. And another. His eyes hold mine, pleading. Give her time to heal. That's all I'm asking. It's not all he's asking, and we both know it. He's asking me to step into his world, to accept the danger, to become another person he needs to protect. He's asking me to care about Emma, to invest in her healing, knowing that I might become a target myself, but I think of Emma's small voice, the other nannies didn't stay. I think of her crying in my arms this morning, finally letting out the grief she's been holding. I think of the peaceful expression on her face when I sang to her. 3 months, I hear myself say. I'll give you 3 months. That should be enough time to make real progress with Emma's therapy, to establish some coping mechanisms, to help her process the trauma. Luca nods slowly. 3 months. And after that? After that, we reassess. See if Emma still needs me. See if. I trail off, unsure how to finish. See if you can handle living in my world, he finishes for me. Yes. He extends his hand across the desk. Deal. I take his hand, his grip warm and firm. The handshake lingers a moment too long, our eyes locked, something electric passing between us that has nothing to do with employment contracts and everything to do with the dangerous territory we're entering together. When I leave the study, my new phone heavy in my pocket, I find Emma waiting in the hallway, her favorite stuffed bear clutched to her chest. Are you leaving? She asks, her voice small and frightened. I kneel down to her level. No, sweetheart. I'm staying. For a long time. Her face lights up. Really? Really? Now, how about we start our first music lesson? I promise to teach you that song. As Emma takes my hand and leads me toward the living room, chattering excitedly about learning Gaelic, I feel Luca's presence behind me. I don't turn around, but I'm acutely aware of him watching us, his daughter and the woman he's hired to protect her from nightmares. What I don't know yet is that nightmares come in many forms. And the ones that wait in darkness are often less dangerous than the ones that walk in daylight, wearing familiar faces. The days settle into a rhythm. Mornings with Emma, teaching her songs, working through her emotions with music and art therapy techniques I learned in graduate school. Afternoons when Emma naps or watches her shows, and I have time to plan our sessions, to document her progress. Evenings are the hardest. That's when Luca comes home. He works long hours doing whatever it is he does. I don't ask, and he doesn't volunteer information. But he's always back by 6, always there for Emma's dinner and bedtime routine. And every night, after Emma is asleep, I find myself lingering. One night it's to discuss Emma's progress. Another night, Luca asks about the songs I'm teaching her, wants to learn them himself so he can sing to her when I'm not there. Tonight, 2 weeks into my time here, I find him on the terrace adjacent to the living room. It's early March, still cold, but he's outside in just his shirt sleeves, a glass of whiskey in his hand, staring out at the city lights. I should leave him alone. Should give him his privacy. But something in the set of his shoulders, the way he holds himself so rigidly, draws me outside. Emma's asleep, I say, wrapping my cardigan tighter against the cold. I know. I checked the monitor. He doesn't turn around. She's sleeping through the night now. 4 nights in a row. She's making real progress, I confirm. The nightmares haven't stopped completely, but they're less frequent. Less intense. Because of you. Because she's processing her trauma in healthier ways. I move to stand beside him at the railing. The music helps, but she's also finally talking about her mother. Finally letting herself grieve. He takes a long drink of his whiskey. I couldn't help her. Her own father, and I couldn't do a damn thing except hold her while she screamed. Luca. Do you know what that's like? He turns to me then, and the anguish in his eyes steals my breath. To be powerless. To watch your child suffer and know that everything you are, everything you've built, all the power and money and control, none of it matters because you can't fix this one thing. I think of my own powerlessness. Of watching my grandmother waste away in that hospital in Cork, of being too poor to fly home more than once, of holding her hand at the end and knowing all my education, all my training, couldn't save her. Yes, I say softly. I know exactly what that's like. He studies me for a moment, really looks at me, and I see the shift in his expression. Recognition, maybe. Or understanding that we're more alike than either of us expected. Your grandmother, he says. The one who taught you the songs. You were with her when she died. I nod, not trusting my voice. And your parents? Emma mentioned they were gone too. Car accident when I was 8. Drunk driver. The old pain is still there, but duller now, worn smooth by time. My grandmother raised me after that. She was the only family I had left. So you understand, he says quietly. What Emma's going through. The loss. The nightmares. You've lived it. Not exactly the same, I point out. My parents died in an actual accident, not, I stop myself, but it's too late. Not murdered, he finishes for me, his voice hard. You can say it, Maeve. That's what happened. Someone killed my wife because they wanted to hurt me. Because she was the easy target. I'm sorry. He laughs bitterly. Everyone's sorry. Do you know how many people came to the funeral? Hundreds. All of them sorry. All of them offering help, offering condolences, offering everything except the one thing that mattered, bringing Gabriella back. He drains his whiskey and sets the glass down with a sharp click. She didn't want this life. This world. She came from a good family, legitimate business people. But she loved me, and she thought love was enough. It wasn't. It got her killed. The words are brutal, self-lacerating. I promised her we'd get out. That I'd leave this life, go legitimate, give Emma a normal childhood. I promised her that a month before she died. Luca. She believed me. Right up until the end, she believed I would keep that promise. He turns back to the city, his hands gripping the railing so hard his knuckles turn white. Now she's gone, Emma has nightmares about watching her mother die, and I'm more entrenched in this world than ever because the only way to protect what's left of my family is to be stronger, more ruthless, more feared than anyone else. I don't have words for this. Nothing I say will make it better, will ease the guilt and grief that's eating him alive. So instead, I do what I do best. I sing. Ta mo croyastai ianat, the words soft in the night air. My heart is within you. Luca's head turns sharply toward me. Ta du croyastai ianam, I continue. Your heart is within me. What does it mean? His voice is rough. It's a love song. An old one. My grandmother used to say it's what souls say to each other when they recognize they're meant to be together. I feel my cheeks heat. It's probably too romantic for. Gabriella used to say something similar. In Italian. His eyes are bright with unshed tears. Il mio cuore tuo. My heart is yours. We stand there in the cold March night, the city glittering below us, both of us haunted by the ghosts of people we've loved and lost. I miss her, Luca says finally. Every day. Every minute. But I also. He stops, struggles with the words. I also feel guilty that I'm starting to forget. The sound of her laugh. The way she smelled in the morning. Little things that are fading. That's normal, I assure him. That's how memory works. It doesn't mean you loved her less. Doesn't it? He looks at me, and there's something in his gaze that makes my pulse quicken. Because lately, I find myself thinking about other things. Other people. The air between us shifts, charges with something dangerous and electric. Luca, I say, a warning. I work for you. I'm here for Emma. I know. And you're grieving. You're vulnerable. These feelings, they're not. Don't, he interrupts, his voice low and intense. Don't tell me what I'm feeling, Maeve. I'm not a child. I'm not confused. I know exactly what this is. And what is it? He steps closer, and I should back away, should maintain professional distance. But I don't. I stand my ground as he reaches up to tuck a strand of red hair behind my ear, his fingers lingering against my cheek. It's terrifying, he says softly. Because 6 months ago, I buried my wife. 6 months ago, I thought I'd never feel anything again except rage and grief. And then you walked into my home, sang to my daughter, and suddenly I'm feeling things I have no right to feel. We can't, I whisper, even as I lean into his touch. Emma needs stability, needs consistency. If we do this, if we cross this line. I know. His thumb brushes across my cheekbone. I know all the reasons this is a terrible idea. You're young, you're innocent, you're nothing like the women in my world. You deserve better than a man with blood on his hands and enemies at every door. That's not. But when you sing, he continues, his eyes locked on mine, when you smile at Emma, when you stand up to me without fear, when you're just here, being yourself, I forget all the reasons I should keep my distance. I forget everything except how much I want. He doesn't finish. Instead, he closes the distance between us and kisses me. It's not gentle. It's desperate, hungry, a man drowning and reaching for salvation. His hands frame my face, holding me like I'm something precious and breakable, and I kiss him back with an intensity that should terrify me. Because he's right. This is terrifying. When we finally break apart, both breathing hard, Luca rests his forehead against mine. I'm sorry, he says. I shouldn't have. Don't apologize. My hands are fisted in his shirt, holding him close even as my mind screams that this is dangerous, that I'm making a mistake. We need to be careful. For Emma's sake. For Emma's sake, he agrees. But his hands don't leave my face, and his eyes hold promises we both know he shouldn't be making. A sound from inside makes us spring apart. Maria appears in the doorway, her expression carefully neutral in a way that says she saw exactly what was happening. Mr. Moretti, you have a call. Marco says it's urgent. Luca's entire demeanor shifts, the vulnerable man vanishing, replaced by the cold, controlled businessman. I'll take it in my study. He brushes past me, and I'm left standing on the terrace, my lips still burning from his kiss, wondering what the hell I've just done. The next morning, everything is different. Luca is gone before I wake, leaving a note for Emma that he had to leave town for a few days on business. Emma is disappointed but not surprised, apparently this happens sometimes. What surprises me is how much I miss him. How the apartment feels emptier without his presence. How I catch myself listening for his footsteps, checking the time to see if he'll make it home for dinner. Get it together, I tell myself sternly. One kiss doesn't change anything. He's grieving, you're convenient, and this was a mistake you need to pretend never happened. But my lips remember. My body remembers. On the third day of Luca's absence, Marco approaches me while Emma is at her piano lesson with her music teacher. "We need to talk," he says, his expression grim. Marco is a large man, maybe 45, with a face that's seen its share of violence. He's always been respectful to me, professional, but there's no warmth in him. He's pure function, pure efficiency. "Is this about Emma?" I ask, concerned. "It's about you." He gestures toward the study. "In private." My stomach clenches with anxiety as I follow him. Once the door is closed, Marco turns to me, his expression harder than usual. "Mr. Moretti is handling a situation in Philadelphia. He'll be back tomorrow." He crosses his arms. "But while he's been gone, there's been activity. Someone's been asking questions about you." Ice floods my veins. "What kind of questions?" "Your background. Your family. Where you came from, how you got this job." His eyes are sharp, assessing. "Someone wants to know who you are to Mr. Moretti." "I'm just the nanny," I say, hearing the tremor in my voice. "You're more than that now." Marco's expression doesn't change. "They saw you with him. On the terrace. 3 nights ago." Horror washes through me. Someone was watching. There are always eyes watching Mr. Moretti. The question is whose eyes, and what they plan to do with what they saw. I sink into a chair, my legs suddenly unsteady. What does this mean? It means you're now a person of interest. It means the rival family that killed Mrs. Moretti has identified you as someone close to Mr. Moretti and his daughter. He pauses, letting that sink in. It means you're a target. The word hangs in the air between us. Target. "I should leave," I say, standing abruptly. "If being here puts Emma in more danger, if I'm becoming a liability." "Leaving now would be worse," Marco interrupts. "It would confirm their suspicions that you matter to him. It would make you vulnerable outside his protection." I'm trapped. The realization crashes over me like a wave. I can't leave without endangering myself, but staying might endanger Emma. What do we do? I ask. We increase security. You don't leave this building under any circumstances without me or one of my team. When Mr. Moretti returns, he'll need to decide on next steps. He kissed me, I blurt out. Once. It was a mistake, we both know that. Surely if I just explain. Miss Sullivan. Marco's voice cuts through my panic. What you and Mr. Moretti do or don't do is not my business. My business is keeping you and Emma alive. Whether you're actually involved with him or not doesn't matter. They think you are. That's enough. The weight of it settles on my shoulders. I came here to help a traumatized child, to earn enough money to survive, maybe to make a difference in one little girl's life. Now I'm a target for murderers because I sang in Gaelic and caught the attention of a dangerous man. In the aftermath of what the media dubbed the Moretti War, life has slowly returned to something resembling normal. Luca's lawyers managed to keep him out of criminal charges, witnesses disappeared, evidence went missing, the kind of string pulling that comes with power and money. But everyone knows what happened. Everyone knows who Luca Moretti is and what he's capable of. And I'm standing beside him anyway. I have something for you, Luca says, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. My heart stutters. Luca. Before you panic, it's not what you think. Not yet, anyway. He opens the box to reveal a delicate gold necklace with a small pendant, a Celtic knot, intricate and beautiful. It reminded me of you. Of the songs you sing, the heritage you brought into our lives. Our lives. The casual intimacy of the phrase still makes my chest tight with emotion. It's beautiful, I say, touching the pendant carefully. Help me put it on. He fastens it around my neck, his fingers lingering on my nape, sending shivers down my spine. There. Perfect. Maeve. Daddy. Emma comes running over, her face flushed with excitement. Can we go to the park? Please. I glance at Luca, who nods. Marco and his team will go with us. But yes, Angel. We can go to the park. Emma cheers, running off to get her shoes. Are you sure? I ask quietly. It's only been 6 months. The attention, the reporters. We can't hide forever, Luca says. Emma deserves a normal childhood. Or as normal as we can give her. His hand finds mine, squeezing gently. And I'm done letting fear dictate our lives. At the park, Emma runs ahead to the playground, Marco and 2 of his men following at a discreet distance. Luca and I sit on a bench, his arm around my shoulders, watching her play. Other parents give us space. They recognize Luca, it's impossible not to, given the coverage. But they don't approach, don't confront. They just watch, wary and uncertain. This is our life now, I say quietly. Being watched. Being judged. Does it bother you? I consider the question honestly. Sometimes. But Emma is happy. You're here. We're together. I turn to look at him. That's worth more than comfort or anonymity. He kisses me, right there in public, in full view of anyone watching. It's a statement, a claim, a promise. I'm going to marry you, he says when we break apart, his forehead resting against mine. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. I'm going to make you mine officially, legally, in every way that matters. And Emma? I ask. How does she factor into this plan? She's already asked if you're going to be her new mommy. He smiles, that devastating smile that still makes my heart race. I think she'd be thrilled. A new mommy. The weight of that responsibility, that role, settles over me. Not replacing Gabriella, no one could ever replace Emma's mother. But being there for her, loving her, helping her grow into the strong, beautiful person she's meant to be. Yes, I say simply. When you ask, officially, my answer will be yes. That night, after Emma is asleep, Luca and I sit on the terrace where we first kissed. The city stretches below us, beautiful and dangerous and full of possibility. Do you ever regret it? He asks. Coming here that first night. Taking the job. Never. I lean into his warmth. Do you? Regret finding you? Never. He pulls me closer. You saved us, Maeve. Both of us. You walked into our broken home and you healed us with songs and patience and love. I think you saved me too, I admit. I was barely surviving before I met you. Working 3 jobs, living in a studio with no heat, eating scrambled eggs because I couldn't afford anything else. I look up at him. You gave me purpose. You gave me Emma. You gave me a reason to be more than just surviving. He kisses the top of my head, and we sit in comfortable silence, both of us marveling at how far we've come from that first night when I walked into his penthouse and sang to his daughter in a language she'd never heard. Inside, through the open door, I hear Emma stir. Not a nightmare this time, just shifting in her sleep. I start to rise, but Luca gently pulls me back down. Let me, he says, standing. You've earned a break. I watch him go inside, this dangerous man with blood on his hands and love in his heart. A man who kills without hesitation but holds his daughter like she's made of glass. A man who chose me, chose to love again after loss, chose to build a family from the broken pieces of our pasts. A moment later, I hear his voice drifting from Emma's room. He's singing, haltingly, with an American accent that butchers the pronunciation, but singing nonetheless. Doin du shoal, a run mo croy. The Gaelic lullaby I taught him. The song that brought us together. I close my eyes, letting the sound wash over me. This is my life now. This penthouse, this family, this beautiful, complicated, dangerous new world. And I wouldn't change a single thing. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you love this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.